The first 3 years of my YouTube journey, I was too ashamed to tell anyone about the fact that I have a YouTube channel. I'm now more than 5 years in, and I can tell you that the journey has been rough, but I have made it to the point where I'm comfortable telling people that I post on YouTube. I still have a tiny little bit of resistance, but I'm miles further than I was when I first started, and I was literally paralyzed by fear. So I want to talk to you about 3 main things that really helped me move through this fear and the discomfort and the mindset of being ashamed of being a YouTuber. And I hope that it really helps you get there sooner than I did. And if you're new here, hello, I'm Anastasia. This is my second new channel where I talk about YouTube journey and experience of building on this platform for 5 years. The thing that I have been building is my main channel, which is just my full name. And you'll see that there's a comment from my main channel in the comment section so that you can go and check it out if you're curious. Thing number 1 that's really helped me and that I very much keep in my mind now too is the fact that this discomfort, this judgment, this fear, this shame is the cost of building the life that you want. I'm sure that if you are anything like me, then probably you're not doing YouTube as a creative outlet, as sad as that sounds. I actually started it with business in mind and income in mind eventually. And if it's the same for you, then you probably are aiming to get monetized, you're aiming to build a business off the back of YouTube, and you're aiming for it to open doors for you, whether it's financially or time freedom wise, or just doing something that you enjoy a bit more, that you find fulfilling, that you have more control over. And someone who studied economics, a lot of things in life I see as a cost benefit analysis. And the thing is that for you to keep pursuing a thing that's very uncomfortable, the potential benefit of doing it has to outweigh the cost. And you just have to think about discomfort as an inevitable cost you have to tolerate. But if you imagine that future that you want, if you imagine achieving everything that you've dreamt about, is it worth it tolerating a bit of that judgment, a bit of that shame, a bit of that cringe for the sake of giving yourself a chance of achieving all of that stuff? And for me, the answer is yes, absolutely worth it. It just takes doing things despite discomfort. Not waiting until discomfort goes, because honestly, it never freaking will. This journey has been one of discomfort the whole time. And when you think you've conquered one, like publishing your first video, and then, I don't know, maybe trying a new video idea that you feel is risky or unusual or controversial, then you do that and you get comfortable with that as a thing. Then you start, I'm gonna create the lead magnet for my channel. And then doing that feels so exposing because you've never done it before. And then you start coaching, and then, doing your first coaching call will probably literally get your guts and get them inside out because you're so nervous. And then that gets more comfortable once you've done that once. It never stops. There's always something that keeps coming up, the next level in the game. And you kind of have to get used to it a little bit. So if you're at the stage of being, ashamed of the fact that you do YouTube, this is your next challenge. This is the thing that you need to conquer to unlock the next level. And then the next level will be even better. It'll be kind of growing your YouTube experience. And the more you grow it, the more of those fears you overcome, the closer you are to that goal that you have. By the way, if you're enjoying this, I've actually created a little summary of my 5 biggest mistakes from 5 years on YouTube, growing my main channel. And that talks about this YouTuber identity and 4 other points that literally I wish I knew sooner. I wish I untangled sooner. And they're completely different to what I talk about in the rest of this video. So I would really recommend watching the rest of this video and then clicking the first link in the description so that you can save time and not go through the same pain that I've gone through for 5 years of trying to figure all this stuff out. It is completely free, and also it is completely written by me, the human that I am, with no use of AI, just my genuine thoughts. I hope you find it helpful. The second thing that helped me out of that YouTuber identity shame is understanding that actually part of why I felt so ashamed is because I was just very, very bad at making videos. Because of that, the thought of someone finding them actually made me terrified. And it's because I knew that I could do better. And I knew that those videos were the worst that I'll ever produce. The thing is that YouTube just takes a long time to get used to get comfortable on camera, and now I can literally turn the camera on and yap to it, and I feel so proud of that. But it was absolutely not the case when I first started. When I first started, I did about an hour of overthinking once I put the camera there. Then I tried every single line about 5 times because I couldn't get it to sound normal. And then I eventually would have to stitch the video in such a way that every couple of seconds there was a cut, just because I wasn't speaking in a flowy, continuous way. And of course, I still have to cut things now and sometimes have to stitch sentences together, but it's absolutely miles away from where I started. And now, because of that, I think if someone finds my videos, I'm no longer scared of what they'll think of me, because I think it represents pretty well the way that I speak in person if you were to just meet me. And this is why I found YouTube so helpful with public speaking, with leading presentations, facilitating, even coaching. It really gets you comfortable talking, structuring your thoughts, and doing all of that without a script, because I never do word-for-word scripting. The most that I have ever done is bullet points, a couple of bullet points of what I want to talk about. And sometimes I have scripted the hook, but then eventually when I speak it, I still speak it the way that I naturally would. There is actually an element of realizing that it will just get better with time. And I took freaking ages. I took 3 years to get comfortable. I mean, it wasn't like a cutoff point at 3 years that I just suddenly was comfortable, people finding my channel. But I think I broke out of that very painful first initial beginner stage where you're just really, really crap at it. And you have to trust that if you keep showing up, if you keep doing, say, 1 video per week, which is the golden standard, you will get better at talking to camera, and you will increasingly feel more and more content, if not happy, with how you show up on camera and how that is gonna put your best foot forward if someone does find it. The final thing that really helped me untangle the shame of being a YouTuber is something that I learned about from the field of psychology, and it's the way we think about ourselves determines our actions to a very large extent. And that's why when, for example, if you work with a therapist, sometimes they might help you untangle things like, I am a lazy person, or I am a bad friend. Usually those things are not an actual quality that you just consistently have all the time. It's just that you have demonstrated some lazy behavior, some bad friend behaviors. But it almost starts becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy where if you think about yourself as a lazy person, you start showing up as lazy. And in the same way, it works for anything else. It works on confidence. If you just box yourself into, I'm just insecure, you're going to be feeling insecure way more and showing up as an insecure person. If you think of yourself as, I am a very expressive dancer who enjoys improvising, you will literally improvise better. Identity is huge. And a lot of us think, me included, that it takes actually getting to a particular point to have legitimacy, to claim an identity. Like, for me, the huge journey has been being a professional dancer, right? And there's a lot of controversy around it. Some people think it takes formal training. Some people think it takes being paid to do a dancer job. And there's a whole debate. But the thing is that you can go through all of the training in the world, but if you don't feel legit, if you don't feel like a professional dancer, you just won't show up as one in terms of your confidence, in terms of your performance quality, in terms of what opportunities and auditions you go to or don't go to. It's insane just how much our identity literally guides us in life. So the trick is, can we just mold our identity in a way that is beneficial to us? What I'm leading to is that sometimes it might be worth just embracing the identity of being a YouTuber before you even feel legit as one. Because, you know, for me, for example, a big milestone of being a YouTuber would be getting monetized with YouTube AdSense, which I'm not yet on either channel. And I always kind of had that as my goal. And until I get there, I don't feel legit enough to call myself a YouTuber. But isn't that insane if you've been doing the thing for 5 years and then you still have this arbitrary self-decided goal that would probably bring you like $5 per month initially to qualify you or disqualify you. I find that a bit insane. And I also think that it's kind of a thing that we hide behind. I think it's the stuff that our brain does just to have an excuse to not be, fully committed to a thing or fully embracing a thing and the risk that comes with it. Because if you say that you are a YouTuber and then you fail and you don't get to monetization or whatever else, then, that feels much more hurtful than if you say, oh, I never was really one. I was just dabbling in it for 5 years. And then, a failure is softened by that. But equally, you're softening your chances of success by not claiming it, by not fully embracing it. The thing that I want to tell you is that at some point, you just have to do it. You just have to think of yourself as a YouTuber. You just have to embrace it. You just have to show up as one to actually get there, to get to the point where you want to be. And it's almost like a little scammy thing that you can do to your brain. But I genuinely think that we can use it for the better. And, as soon as I started thinking of myself as someone who is a YouTuber, I do YouTube. It's part of my thing. If I tell people, what are the 3 key things that you do in life? Apart from obviously, the human stuff. But in my career, I would say that I do consulting, I do dance, and I do YouTube. And those 3 have actually been there ever since I started for the longest time. However, it's only recently that I've fully given it equal weight and equally embraced that these are all 3 legit parts of what I do. And I'm fully, in it. I can fully claim all 3 of them. And I think if you don't hold off, if you don't wait to feel fully ready, to actually just embrace the identity and just try telling someone that you're a YouTuber and just see what happens. And honestly, it's probably not going to be as catastrophic as you think. It's probably not going to be as negative as you think. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And I really hope that you get to the point where you're comfortable with what you're doing, because it really, really will help you stay consistent, which is the holy grail of YouTube advice. If this was helpful, I hope that you download my 5 biggest mistakes from 5 years on YouTube. I think they genuinely will be super helpful if you've enjoyed this video, if this content resonates and you just want a little virtual text hug from someone who's been through all of this stuff and, is still figuring it out, but figured out the first 5 years of the journey. I hope it helps you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.